All right. We are in, and I can see I'm talking, and lighting looks good. Hair looks good. All right, we're in. I wanted to apologize to you guys. I've been kind of inconsistent, kind of all over the place in terms of posting and everything. I know I took a week off, and then I had one with Ben and Carter, and then I didn't post this Monday. I usually post on Mondays. What I think I'm gonna do now is, as soon as I record one, I'm just gonna like listen to it, see if it's all good, and then I gotta post it. Just because, you get it out there when you can instead of waiting. When you have one ready, just go. So that could be whenever. Um, and today we've got a whole host of things to talk about, lots of stuff to go over. Um, and it's all some really deep stuff, really important stuff, I think. Um, well, it is. Uh, I wanted to say before I go into any of this, it's sensitive content, stuff that you could easily, some of it is really disgusting stuff. A lot of it, um, it has to deal with the human trafficking ring going uh, around the world, and all the stuff that's happening there. That's a lot of what I'm going to be talking about, and it's some really gross stuff at points. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. Um, and I will do my best to be as sensitive as possible, because I understand that this stuff is it's very serious, but I felt like I had to do my part in letting people know what's going on, and how serious this is. And it's interesting to talk about these things and speculate these things. That's why I wish I had somebody here with me so we could kind of regulate the conversation better, and have a uh, you know have more of a discussion about it. But right now it's just going to be me, and I'm sure this will come up in another episode, sometime soon. Um, but uh, that's it. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty here. And there's probably a lot of stuff that you don't know that I'm gonna bring up. Epstein stuff, the Lolita Express, the John Podesta emails. John Podesta, he was the chief of staff for Bill Clinton during the Clinton administration, and then he was special counsel to the president during Barack Obama's presidency. So his emails with a lot of different people, uh, and how this all connects to Hollywood, what's going on in Hollywood with the human trafficking, with the celebrities and all, what they're doing, some interesting stuff. The global elite, which is a term you'll hear me use a lot. The elite, them, those people, what they're up to, what their role is in all of this. Politicians and such, people of a higher status than me and you. Uh, well, I don't know who you are if you're listening, but uh, people that have a higher status in this world, that are wealthy and have a lot of influence. Um, and unfortunately, they like to exert that influence in negative ways, as they are being communicated to by entities of a lower state of consciousness and a lower state of vibration, in dimensions lower than the dimension that we as humans currently sit in right now. We sit in the fifth and sixth dimension right now, and there are about 12 dimensions from what we know right now. Um, and we have free will, not just materially. When people say free will, they talk about material things, and I have free will to do what I want on my phone, and I have free will to have to have like a multi-tool and carry that around with me, and do all these things. You got free will to do whatever you want, but you have free will to go in between any of the 12 dimensions. right? Your conscious, your level of consciousness. Now you right now you're on planet Earth physically, right? But spiritually, right? You're who you are as a being, your level of consciousness, right? There's the conscious mind, then there's the subconscious mind, and then there's the unconscious mind, and they all play into each other. So your conscious mind is what's on the surface. Your subconscious is pretty much what's below the surface, and your unconscious. Now, I have not done a lot of. I have not looked into the unconscious a lot. I'm just saying that because I know a tiny bit about it. I just know what it is. I know it's the unconscious. So I'm not going to say anything more about that. I don't know anything about it. And I want to make sure I'm getting all my information right here. It's super important to do. So, so as humans, we have the ability to go in between dimensions of consciousness. And we are currently in the fifth and sixth dimensions, rough estimate. And there are people on this earth that are of a much higher consciousness, and there are people that are of a much lower consciousness. And, depending on who you are, like you have the choice. Some people want to associate with a lower level of consciousness. Some people want to associate with a higher level of consciousness. And the thing is, and Christianity got this right, the Bible got this right. Well, I won't say that, but the concept of heaven and hell did come from Christianity, and I think they got that right. Now, when people say hell is usually looked at as a down under thing, and heaven is the up above sort of thing, right? So when people say that, they're right. Now they might not know the whole thing behind it. It's just sort of a Jesus went into hell, and people just think below is worse. Well, that comes from the levels of consciousness, right? If there are beings in a lowered state of consciousness, there are lower frequency entities, lower vibrational frequency entities, then they are they are of a lower dimension, right? Oh, and I know. I hope I'm explaining this in a way that you, the viewer, the listener, can understand. We have a choice to go in between different dimensions of consciousness. And so the global elite of this world, a lot of them choose to be on the lower end of the spectrum, opposed to the higher end of the spectrum. Now, they believe that they are possessed by off-world entities and entities of a lower state of consciousness. And they believe that their mission is to take over humanity and keep them in a lower state of consciousness, which is what you see with and let me bring out my notes here. I had to do a lot of looking into this stuff. Now, they are building a system in which we have lowered IQs, we live less, infertility levels are through the roof, we're unhappy. Now let me focus on each one of those. Now, the fertility. Now, you can go into this and you can say a lot of stuff, but fertility levels are at an all-time low for men and women. That is a fact. A lot of that has to do with the chemicals that are being put into our food and into our water, stuff that's being put into when you would go to the doctor and you would get a shot during your checkup. There are a lot of things in those chemicals in those, such as mercury, formaldehyde, MCR5, which is aborted fetal cells, lots of terrible stuff. lots of terrible stuff. And so fertility levels are in a much lowered state. Low IQ has to do with the same thing. If you're eating terrible foods, your brain won't be able to function at a high level. If you're absorbing chemicals into your body, your brain isn't going to be able to function at a high level. You're going to have a low IQ. You're not going to be highly functioning. You're not going to be as intelligent or as efficient as somebody who's eating all organic and grass-fed and non-hormone, antibiotic chicken or fish or, whatever it is, right? Low IQ. Live less. All right. Now, living less, this is where the Bible comes into play again, right? So when you look at the Bible and when Abraham and Isaac and Joseph and all of them in the Bible, all of those people that we know very well. Now, if you're listening, you don't know the Bible stories. These are people that have lived for hundreds of years. Okay. And they had some sort of higher connection back then. They had a much higher connection back then. It's a wonder to me how people today live such shorter lives, right? Most people live to around 90 years old, roughly. But life expectancy, what's the life expectancy in the United States? Let's look this up real quick. The life expectancy in the United States is, all right, from 2018 in the United States, it's 78 and a half years. United Kingdom is 81 years, 81. Canada is almost 82 years. So now, with that being said, I said around 90 years. That's way high. I was wrong on that. That's why I want to, make sure I have all my information correct, so that I'm not relaying misinformation to you guys. So if the life expectancy is 78 years old in the United States, 78 to 81 or 82. All right, that's the average. Excuse the birds in the background, hey birdies. That's the average. And so if we are living such shorter lives today compared to Abraham in the Bible, who lived hundreds of years, I think Abraham lived 900 something years. Let's look that up too, so I'm right on that. How long did Abraham live? All right, Abraham lived at 175 years, much older than any of us. How long did Moses? Now Moses lived 120. No, okay, I got Noah and Abraham mixed up. Noah, Noah's Ark, the flood story, the animals came 2 by 2. Noah lived to 950 years. How long did the longest life in the longest life in the Bible? Methuselah, the longest life, 969 years. So if we look at 969 years, that is a huge amount of time. And I apologize for not doing my research ahead of time on this. I didn't expect to go into this as deep as I thought. Anyways, if Methuselah 969, Abraham or Noah at 950, Abraham at 150, Moses at 120. If all of these people are living all these years, 969 years, That is insane compared to today. If the life expectancy today is 78 years old, and there was a man that lived to 969 years old back then in Bible times, in the Old Testament, mind you, my goodness, good Lord, literally, we're talking about the Bible, the Lord. That's insane. I mean, we're living less. We're living less, and it's a wonder to me, and I don't understand it because there's just something about it that makes me go, what's going on here? Well, we're putting genetically modified foods into our bodies. We're eating non-organic. We're consuming all these chemicals. We're a lot of bad stuff is going on. And unfortunately, the only way we can change that is if individually, we can't change anything for anybody, but individually, if we do our part, right, and we eat organic and we refuse the chemicals that are being put into the water, which is why I get these water jugs, BPA free, fluoride free, reverse osmosis, which automatically takes any chemical fluoride out, alkaline water. That's probably the best water out there that you can get other than, hold on, straight out of your stream, boiling it, right? That, I mean, you're not going to get much better than that. There's a lot of interesting chemicals and stuff. Atrazine is one of them. Atrazine is a chemical that was put into the water, reverses the gender of frogs. Now, if I'm correct, his name is Tyrone Hayes. Yep, Tyrone Hayes. Now, Tyrone Hayes Tyrone Hayes felt that it was his responsibility to let people know that he was an American biologist, so he was dealing with this stuff all the time. He thought that it was his responsibility, and he was correct. It is his responsibility. We have an obligation as human beings to this earth to let the people and animals and plants on this earth know what is going on, that there are people putting chemicals into our food and water. Okay. So atrazine, he felt it important, and he was right by a long shot, that he should let people know that they are putting a chemical into the water that is so toxic that it changes the gender of frogs. And he was correct, and he got whacked for it. And unfortunately, Tyrone Hayes never to be heard of again after saying that. And they want you in a lowered state. They want you in a lowered state. And it's blatantly obvious to me. And if you're eating all these foods and all this terrible stuff is happening, you're going to be unhappy, which is the last thing there. Is being unhappy. That's the last thing there. Now, moving on to the next part, and please let me know, and I can cover this in another episode. If you have any questions about what I'm saying, if you want me to clarify, if you think that what I said isn't wrong, if you want to challenge me, please let me know in the comments. I read the comments, and I really appreciate any feedback at all. If you want to let me know, hey, I think you got this wrong, please let me know, because I just want to inform people with this podcast and all future podcasts. I want to inform people. I want people to listen, have a good time, learn something. I want to learn something. So please let me know if if I said something wrong, if I messed something up. If you want to just have a discussion, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy. I welcome that. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to take a short break, go get myself some water, and I'll be back in about 20 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I think I overestimated that 20 seconds here. Um, Now, I wanted to kind of segue into this, and I'm not quite sure how, but I just wanted to let you guys know that, all the stuff that's going on today in the world, it can seem like there is, a lot of terrible stuff going on. There is, and it can seem like evil is greater than good, and that we can't prevail, we won't prevail, the truth will never come out. Oh, it's so terrible. I mean, it's not. It's not. It's simple as that. It's not. For as many terrible things are going on, there are so many great things going on, and you should be so blessed to be here, and you should feel that blessing every single day. And you should wake up, look in the mirror, and just tell yourself, man, I am so lucky to be here, and I'm so glad to be here because this is a great place to be. It really is a great place to be. If you just live your life according to your happiness and the betterment of all, you're golden. The forces of good always outweigh the forces of evil. Always do. The truth will always prevail, nature will always prevail, and in the end, we will win. Good will win. So don't get too down on yourself. Keep the faith. It's all going to work out. I promise you that. I promise you that as I head into this next very dark, dark thing. So, and I have all these notes here, and I was just writing stuff down, doing tons of research, reading emails, reading letters and articles, and quotes and excerpts, and all the whole 9 yards, the whole 10 yards. Because 10 yards is a first down, not 9. I think that's the expression. All right. Anyways, so there were the WikiLeaks. Well, WikiLeaks is a website, and there were the John Podesta emails. And as I said earlier, John Podesta was the chief of staff to former President Bill Clinton, and he was a special counsel to the president to President Barack Obama. And he exchanged emails with a whole host of people. He exchanged emails with Ruth Marcus, who is a political commentator, was in the political field, did a lot of work there. And that's not even the tip of the iceberg here as far as people go. Tamara Luzzatto. Now, Luzzatto, that's a name you might hear a lot. Luzzatto. She was the Secretary of State and in the U.S. Senate from 2001 to 2009. So she would have been there during. She left before the start of the Obama administration. Trudy Vincent was the chief of staff. And then John Podesta and Anthony Weiner. Anthony Weiner is a name all out there. Anthony Weiner was sending explicit pictures to girls, underage girls, 15-year-olds. Apparently, and this is how the story goes, on Twitter, he was, he had talked at a girl's school, and a girl had said, man, I really like what he's doing, and had went and followed him on Twitter, and he had, DM, which is direct message. He had messaged her on Twitter and said something, and then he started sending some stuff, and it was really, it was really uncomfortable stuff. And so all these people, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg. That's not even all the people. I just came up with a list of a few people, who were involved in stuff. The emails, who were a part of the emails, and these are people who, politicians, were just working in the field of politics, and we're involved in some pretty nasty stuff, and that's what you get with a lot of these politicians. Evil stuff, man. Evil stuff. And so another man, Barney Frank. Barney Frank was a congressman in 1985 in the 90s. He's a gay man, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there's some stuff going on with him. He was hiring male prostitutes, specifically a man by the name of Steve Goby, and Goby was working as a he was originally hired as a prostitute for Barney Frank, and then Frank and him became more friends than any sexual favors or prostitute or whatever you want to call it. And so they became friends, and so Goby lived in his house, and he kept working as a prostitute out of his home, out of Barney Frank's home. And apparently Frank got off the hook. Apparently he had no idea that there were prostitutes coming in and out of his house all the time, which to me, I mean, if you're asking me, man, if there are people coming in and out of my house all the time and there's something going on, I'm gonna know about it. I'm gonna know something, because I just don't, people coming into my house, there's no way you don't know something is wrong, something's up. But yeah, that's the Barney Frank story as it goes. And so now we go into I could take this in any number of directions, but the email specifically contain code words. Now, words such as pizza, walnut, hot dog, cheese, pasta, ice cream, avocado, and lots of food words. And you see this sort of symbolism all over these celebrities and everything talking about pizza or walnuts or hot dogs. In an email, Barack Obama had spent $65,000 on. Well, hold on. I should back up. And give you what the code words mean. So, from the FBI, they decoded these emails and found out what they meant. Pizza means girl. Walnut means a person of color. Hot dog means boy. Cheese means little girl. Pasta means little boy. Ice cream means male prostitute. Avocado means Mexican children. So there were code words for children. This is the whole human trafficking thing that I'm talking about that is absolutely disgusting. It pains me to talk about this stuff, but I feel like I have to inform, and this is important stuff. Now, in a party, a get together in Chicago, Barack Obama reportedly spent in an email $65,000 on pizza and hot dogs. Title subject in the email: "Get ready for Chicago Hot Dog Friday." Now, if you look at it, pizza meaning girl and hot dog meaning, boy. Well, $65,000 on hot dogs and pizza? Are you kidding me? Who needs that much money for pizza and hot dogs? I mean, for me, I eat 2-3 pieces of pizza. I don't even eat hot dogs. God forbid I want to put that shit in my body. But I mean, come on. That's a lot of catering. And these words are found all over emails, all over, right? And Jim Stayer, no, hold on a second. Let me back up here. Now, walnut means a person of color. So Jim Stayer, an attorney, was a part of an email. The email said, "We need walnut sauce for the pasta. Okay, so people of color, little boys, you know what I'm saying, the code words here. And he called him a true master of cuisine for years. Now, this is some pretty explicit, pretty exact language being used. Now, this implies, using the code words, that he was doing this for years. He was a sex offender for years. He was a master of cuisine. Now, these were involved in the Podesta emails, all the WikiLeaks emails that came out about this shit. All of them. Now, if you're going to tell me that, it was just one email, there are thousands of these emails that were leaked. John Podesta, Anthony Weiner, all of these people, Hillary Clinton, all of these people were involved in emails. All of them. That's used this language hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. There is no way that there is just one email and it's a coincidence. It's no. This is disgusting. This is real. This happened. The FBI decoded it. People love to trust the FBI. The FBI decoded this, found out what it was. And they are literally taking children, not people, not any type of people, not adults, not grown men and grown women, children. Children are being kidnapped and trafficked around the world by politicians, by celebrities. This is wrong, and this is what has happened. It's terrible. Terrible. Now, one email says, Ruby Emerson and forgive me, I might pronounce the name wrong. Maeve, 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 11, 9, and 7. So, alluding to their ages. For further entertainment, they will be in the pool for sure. Part of the Podesta emails. John Podesta, the chief of staff to Bill Clinton, the special counsel to Barack Obama. This is sick. This is absolutely sick. And they would convince the parents to let it's just a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser for kids in need. And it's no, it's the opposite of that. These politicians are sitting here playing with the money they have while they're feeding off of disgusting things. They're doing disgusting, unimaginable things to children, and it's wrong. And this is what was happening and not just the 3 to 4 emails that I've shown you. Thousands of them. It just upsets me. It really does upset me. And it gets me fired up about this stuff. Because all the emails that were leaked, and I didn't look through all of them. I probably looked through 15 and I said, I can't do this anymore. I have so much information that I could go off of, and I could just go on and on and on. If I had looked at the 1,000 emails that there were, imagine how time consuming that is, how miserable that is to sit through that. It really is disgusting stuff. And I can't say it enough. And I don't know who's falling for this shit, because every single person involved in this, people are still not charged with this stuff. Not charged. There are people who are still doing their jobs who were involved in this stuff. Bill Clinton. We know Bill Clinton went on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, the Lolita Express, his private jet, to his island 26, 27 times, maybe even more from the flight lists. We know that. We know he did. We know Bill Clinton is a sexual predator. We know what happened in the Oval Office. We know about him. and people still deny, and he still gets off, and he still gets no charges. Why? Because his ass is being saved by the global elite. When you have money, you have power, you have influence. It doesn't matter what you do. You get what you want. And this is evil stuff. Evil stuff. Terrible. Now, speaking of the flight lists, on Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express's private jet, that sick man. More people. And we know about the Catholic Church too. We know all the stuff that was going on in the Catholic Church, that, you know, the priests were doing things to little boys. They would make them confess, that, you know, they would console them and say, and, you know, make them feel good, make them feel better. And, you know, yeah, they would do all that. You know what I'm saying when I say it will make them feel better about, you know, when they confess their sins, what was going on in the Catholic Church and how disgusting it was, right? And all the stuff, all the scandals and everything. And years later, this stuff comes out and all, you know, all that, right? So when Prince Andrew is found on the flight lists, right? Prince Andrew found on the flight lists. So that says some stuff. Prince Andrew, right? Bill Clinton, as I said, right? Kevin Spacey, and we know the Kevin Spacey scandals. We know about Kevin Spacey. Oh, he's so funny. It distracts you from the fact that he's a sexual predator. He gets all these roles in TV shows and movies and Hollywood and glamour and glitz and the red carpet and the awards and the suits and ties and roles, and he's a sexual predator. It's wrong. It's wrong. Naomi Campbell. Model. Chris Tucker. We all know Chris Tucker. He was on the flight lists, but he's so funny. He's reading a script. He's not that funny. Most of these guys are reading a script. On Epstein's Island, I consider you a sexual predator. You were part of that operation, and you just decided to go with it. And that is wrong. Larry Summers, part of the United States Treasury, another politician. Flight lists. All these people. Well, I didn't know. You didn't know. That's a sorry excuse. That's a sorry ass excuse. These are sexual predators, and that's not all the people. That is not all the people that were on Jeffrey Epstein's island. That's not all the people. That's saying something. That there were hundreds of people visiting his island. Now, on to the last thing here. We want to talk about adrenochrome, which is a chemical found in blood of children. What do? They kidnap children. They traffic children. They drink the blood of the children for the adrenochrome, right? The global elite human trafficking ring. I looked this up. I did extensive research on adrenochrome. Adrenochrome deposits in the cornea of the eye, causing a black eye. Right? So when you drink the blood, when you consume the blood, they believe that this blood makes them younger, the blood of children. So they murder them, they drink this blood. Not to mention that they also sexually assault and molest and rape these children. Right? So the cornea, right? It rests right there, the cornea, right? So when you get a black eye, everybody knows what a black eye looks like. Why are all these celebrities getting black eyes? Why? George W. Bush, another politician. John McCain, another politician. Prince Andrew, on the flight list. Prince Philip. Adam Sandler. Stephen Colbert. Queen Elizabeth. And that's just to name a few. That's just to name a few. And I can sit up here and I can say all of this stuff. And I could go so much further, and I could do so much more research and dig such a hole and go in such a rabbit hole. But I won't. I won't, because there's no need to rest all my attention on one disgusting thing. The point here is to inform and to realize this is stuff that's going on. And I want people to know this is what's going on. And if you don't want to go read all the emails and everything, you can just listen to me talk about it. And that's fine. But I highly suggest, if this is of any interest to you, if you're any concern, please go look up on WikiLeaks, the John Podesta emails, Anthony Weiner, right? We know all that, the Lolita Express. Look at the flight lists. There are PDF files and pictures of the flight lists. And we know who was on the flight list. You can look at it for sure. All that, confirmed sources. This is terrible stuff. And, I really hope that, people have something to gain from learning this stuff. And they don't just let this fly by and sweep it on the rug. Well, it's not my business. If that was your child, what would you be doing? It's absolutely terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. But I want to end on a positive note here. And I want to thank each and every one of you who listens every week consistently, and people who are new to the channel, who don't listen consistently every week, or you're just joining. I highly suggest you consider going back and watching each of the other 10 episodes. I think it is now. We're at number 11, lucky number 11 ones. So, thank you so much. You drive me to succeed in life and to follow my dreams. And my dream is to do this podcast and to do it well. And I'm doing it to the best of my ability. And I love it. I love it so much. And I love to be here and interact with each and every one of you week in and week out. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, giving me this platform. I know it's not a lot right now. I know it's 19 subscribers, whatever it is. But if I can talk to 19 people and touch 19 people, that's better than doing nothing and sitting on my ass all day and doing nothing. So thank you guys. Go get some rest. Enjoy your days. Much love. I will see you on the next episode.